Good morning. It's Mike D down Peppertree Lane. Enjoy my garden. Let's talk about Disneyland. And this is part of my Growing Up in LA series. I moved there when I was really young, about 3, and the family was so excited because we get to go to Disneyland like any weekend we want, and the prices were much lower then. And we started going every few months or for a birthday or holiday. It was exciting. Um, so this was in the 70s. If I recall, there was a donkey ride. You could actually go on a donkey ride. And, they had burros or mules, and they retired that ride at some point as the park grew, and maybe there was a liability there. So that's what I remember. And then, like the Pirates of the Caribbean made a big impact on me because at 3 years old, I mean, I thought the pirates were real. How would I know? I mean, they looked so scary and they would look right in your eyes and it was dark and there was these tunnels with the pirates singing and chanting. And I mean, my parents kind of reassured me we're on a ride, but still it was really creepy, scary, exciting at the same time. So that was kind of that made a huge impact on me, the Pirates of the Caribbean. And I remember going to the teacups, and you could get kids on the teacups and spin round and round, faster and faster. And sometimes the adults didn't like it; they got kind of nauseous, and that was funny to us as kids. Um, so it's a small world, and all these little boat rides you would go on, and the Autotopia made a big impact on me because you could drive your own little car when you're like 4 years old or 5. And it was on a track, but you could pick out the color you wanted, like purple or green, and fight with your friends about it, and then get on this racetrack. It was really a big deal for kids. And I mean, we would try to run like from one ride to another to get the most possible fun we could get on any given day. And my favorite part of the park was, you would get tired later in the evening. And the Pirates of the Caribbean led right out into the French Quarter. And they sometimes had a jazz band playing there. And they had these fritters, they were called like beignets. They were a type of powdered donut and a mint julep. And, no alcohol, but for kids, it was a big deal. And you could sit there and drink your julep and eat the fritter and look out over the lake at sunset. And that was my favorite. It was just such a happy, a fun, a peaceful feeling and having such a satisfying day. Um, there was Frontierland with Davy Crockett, and you could shoot these rifles and kind of hit your targets. There was the jungle ride, another boat ride, and this hippopotamus would try to attack you, and the guide would shoot the hippopotamus at the last minute. And that was a fun one that stands out. There was the tiki hut. That wasn't a ride. You would just stand there, and all these birds would sing and come out, and it led to this huge gift shop, of course. And look for birds, by the way. I've put out some crackers in the bird bath. I have quite an aviary back here. Speaking of tiki ride, tiki birds, you had the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, this incredible ropes and ladders place you could go up and down, and it tied into the movie, of course, that we had all seen, and that was a fun one to go up and down this treehouse on all the ladders. And then there was a little raft that took you out to Tom Sawyer Island, and there were all sorts of caves and tunnels, and it was a way to get some freedom away from your parents and stuff and go run and hide. We would try to find the best tunnels and leap out and scare each other. And even though that wasn't a ride, it was like this fun hide and seek game. And my family always kind of debated whether the boats were on a track or not. Like the canoes, it did not seem like the canoes were on a track. I think they were actually paddling with guides. But the larger riverboat, I believe, was on a track. So that was kind of a fun debate we had. Um, the big ride when I was growing up was Space Mountain when Tomorrowland was developed and they put that in, and that was really exciting and fun. To It was like a major roller coaster for Disneyland. And then in the middle of the park was the Matterhorn, and that was a really fast sled ride. It was a long line. You had to wait in a long line for that one, but well worth it. A real blast. And there was like usually a parade later at night. By then you'd be a bit tired and would want to watch the electrical parade with all the lights. And there were fireworks every night. Fireworks above the Matterhorn. And it was just a great thing to grow up in LA and have access to Disneyland and be able to go to parties and events and Christmas and stuff for the holidays. And Main Street was great. There was a candy shop, there was a penny arcade. You could buy all kinds of licorice and gum. And I mean, we just ran on sugar in those days. And just all kinds of sugary uh, junk foods. And we were allowed to have a treat, for that time. And our parents might put $10 in our pockets. So I did, all the way up through high school. I went to Disney. And then when I graduated, I got a summer job at Disneyland. Well, that's when all the fun stopped. I mean, it was, hard work. An amusement park. I was now to serve thousands of people. I was on Main Street in a big restaurant. And I had to bus tables and, be kind of a semi waiter and clean up food. And the supervisors, they were called leads. Like this one lady told me it had taken her 10 years to work up to being a lead. And she had no college degree. It was just grinding it out through the food world. And she was pretty mean to us and pretty rough. And they had to set strict limits to keep us all working a job that was not enjoyable. And just, dirty dishes and cleaning up setting tables. And I was kind of a shock to me, but I knew it was only for the summer. So it was an experience. But we took our break behind the jungle ride and in the jungle boats. So we'd all be sitting there, resting our feet because it was totally cement, and we'd be just resting, taking a break in the jungle boat behind the trees, and we could actually peek through and see people on the ride. And if they looked really hard, they might see us, but I don't think they ever did. And there's all kinds of little corners where you can walk around the corner and all of a sudden you're backstage in like employee areas or employee lounges. So you really learn where these little alcoves are that you duck behind, and then you're like looking at Donald Duck with his head taken off and he's smoking a cigarette, on a break. So anyway, I that motivated me to go to college that fall, get out of that tough food worker life that some people did, you know, full time year after year, and to grind their way and make their way up to the lead, manager. But they had a lot of benefits at Disney for their, I think they called them like guest relations or something like that, if you stayed with them. So anyway, I remember there was also like a train that went around the park. It was really fun, and they had like dinosaurs, and you could go on this train ride all the way around the park. I remember there was like a president's exhibit with Lincoln, and he was like an animated statue, and he would give a speech. And we did that a little bit, but as kids, we were